Okay, we should be live, everyone. Welcome to episode 10 of Your First Jungle Clear. We're into double digits now. This has actually gone pretty quick two episodes a week, much quicker than I actually expected to be racking up these episodes. So, welcome to the show if you're first time watching. This show's all about going over the early jungle clear from specifically members of my community. If you're looking to get on this show in the future, you'll need to join my Discord. Basically, tell me the game that you want to play, you want me to review before I go live. Jump in the waiting room voice channel and I'll drag you in when ready. Reason being, I like to go over early jungle clear is, obviously my channels, there's a lot on the reviews I see that I go through that I see people making mistakes of the early game. Everything stems back to the early game, especially as a jungler. You have the most impact as a jungler on terms of the early game, so really important to polish that up, fix that up, and your game's just going to be much better. You'll be able to achieve your ranked goals much easier. So we got a full lineup. We do have all the guests lined up for the show tonight. We do have 6 guests I usually try to do. Sometimes I might try and squeeze in a 7th, but I think we'll just do 6 for this show and go a bit more in depth. So we're going to drag in our first guest, Jackson, who's pretty seasoned veteran member of the show. Thanks, Paul, for the congrats on the 10th episode. How's it going, Frold? Also, the other thing as well is after my reviews, I'll take a look at chat. So if you have any questions during the review that you want me to go over after a review I do with someone is the best time for me to answer those questions. All right, great. I'm going to drag in our first guest now. All right, Jackson, you are on the air. Can you hear me all good?
Yep. How's it going?
Excellent. All right, I'm just going to jump straight into your game here. You did say you needed to go do some stuff after, so I want to quickly jump
for
into
sure.
this here. All right, so...
Yeah, I have like 10, 30 minutes, 20, 30 minutes, so I should be good.
Okay,
but yeah, appreciate
that's
it.
perfect. All right, cool. So you should be able to see the stream up right now.
Yep.
On the stream. Okay, so this game actually, this is a 13 death game. So this is a lot of deaths already. I'm looking at your game here. Do you want to talk a little bit about, we'll go over the early game, but you can't be getting 13 deaths as, it's expected to win a game, especially as Jarvan, right?
Yeah, for sure. I had a lot of flukes, not too early, but more of the, just prior to the mid game, started having some deaths. I made a really bad choice on a gank bot side, got a little too cocky on a 4-man dive on the bot lane. Well, not too much of a dive, but I made a mistake there. And I wasted a lot of time, I believe around the 8-minute mark. That kind of got me behind. So a lot of minor inconveniences, a lot of minor mistakes that I made to lead up to those. And later on, I was making a lot of dives for the backline or like trying to engage and stuff like that for my team. Just making really risky plays to try and come back, but I really should have just stayed back. It's just hard to get back in J4,
Yeah, you do need to have a good early game. And in terms of looking at the time controls here, it looks like there's actually not much that happens in terms of the early game. So it looks like a big chunk of it is in terms of mid game. Obviously, we'll still go over how you could have maybe done something in the early game, but
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it looks like there's a lot of fighting in terms of mid game, and you guys sort of just looks like you just get stomped.
Yeah, for sure.
Stuff. All right, cool. So let's take a look at this. Let's start with your runes. You're probably, honestly, I always say this, you probably know more about Jarvan runes than me at this point. So
I wanted to question the last
stand
for precision. Yeah.
Yeah.
I felt kind of 50-50 this game with last stand. Like seeing the Leona and like the Alawi, I felt last stand was a good option, but overall I wasn't sure if coup de grace might have been better since the majority of them are squishy. But at the same time, Master Yi, I don't know.
Yeah, so the way I view last stand versus coup de grace, I think of how quick a fight's going to go. And I guess in terms of early game, Yi's not going to be able to have enough damage to one-shot you. So in terms of early game skirmishing, I do think last stand is good. But coup de grace, I think it's also 50-50. I think both can work. I think it's fine. I think your runes are fine here. Going tenacity is good. Sudden impact, relentless hunter, attack speed 80, armor. So I think it's good. And again, just have that thought process with last stand. It's like how long a fight's going to go. I mean, you are versing a Varus and Ezreal, and these fights ideally you don't want to be going long because these guys can sustain through long fights. But in terms of early game strength, I do think Last Stand is the way to go, especially if you're looking to fight a Yi, and I would be really looking to pressure Yi early game as a Jarvan. So actually, given that, I think going Last Stand's the right move.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, I was looking to go against this Yi, try and find him in his jungle early on.
So great, you get an early ward off already. Switch to Red Sweeper.
Yeah, I felt a little thrown off this game with the Singed top side, so I thought I was going to start my bot side blue since Singed is looking for a proxy and I wouldn't be able to get the leash there. And I was typing in chat with him and seeing if a level 3 gank top side would still work with him. And he said that, yeah, he'd be good for a gank. And I was like thinking that maybe I could look for Yina's jungle around my level 3. But the timing gets a little botched.
Yeah, okay. So, I mean, this is a very vulnerable lane in terms of they're both taking Ignite. Like, Allow is actually going opt-in for lane dominance, which is definitely something you don't see, but I do think that that is okay. But yeah, I'm also trying to think as well for Singed, like, if he's proxying and stuff, that's going to make ganking very difficult. So,
yeah.
Does he actually proxy? I mean, let's take a look at this. But this is like you need. I don't know. You're not obviously in Singed's head, so you don't know what's going on. I mean, maybe this is something you can communicate beforehand, but you need to tell him you shouldn't be proxying if you're looking to gank, because now this is not gankable straight up. You know.
Yeah, I was asking if he was going to proxy, and then he said level 3 gank would be fine. So I kind of just took his word for it.
Okay. Well, this is fine. If he stops doing this on the 3rd wave, you can come on here and gank this for sure.
Yeah. And then I see Master Yi coming for a ward right on the Pixel Brush bot river. And I see that he's a bit that he's not pathing directly towards his blue buff. So I'm thinking here that if I skip wolves, go to my red, I might be able to catch him off while he's doing his blue and get a kill on him there.
Yep. But, I think that's the right move.
And he's able to he was able to get his blue just in time before I was able to get there, sadly. So the timing got, like I said, a little botched.
Yeah, okay, well, actually, I mean, he hasn't got it. He actually hasn't got it. I think that you need red buff, definitely. So definitely prioritize getting red buff. I mean, actually looking at the timing. Wait, does he get red, blue? Like, what happened?
Yeah, I see. I think the replay just messes that up a bit. Yeah.
So he's level 2 right now. So you do force him out of the jungle. I definitely don't like that you're Singed base there. Yeah, I mean, it's all sort of messed up a little bit, to be honest, as well. So, he goes pretty greedy, goes for Gromp, force him out. Alright, great, you do kill him there. So what I actually really wanted you to do here, like part of me also thinks that gank was not worth it, in a way, because I actually need you to keep the pressure on Yi, and I need you to double Rift Scuttler him.
Okay.
So actually going back to the win condition you thought, so like, what are you thinking? Like, were you thinking to early gank top lane? But, I mean, you have a lot of CC bot to utilize. Jhin Thresh is a great lane to be ganking. I mean, even mid as well. Syndra stun, you can kill Varus. Varus is pretty vulnerable. Yeah,
I like working with Syndras for sure, especially against like a Varus. I just didn't find too much opportunity to get a gank in. Later on, I actually spent a little too much time trying to gank that when it's not available, which I messed up on. And for the matchup bot lane, I did want to get Jhin ahead, Jhin and Thresh ahead, but at the same time, I wasn't sure how that matchup was against Leona Ezreal. So yeah, I just wanted to get that one early gank off top side and then kind of just leave it alone. But I get a little flustered later on and confused and end up not doing that. But as for the double Rift Scuttle, do you think I should have just gone for the top Rift Scuttle and then path directly to the bot one and then back?
Yeah, I mean, it's good that you're Singed should be okay in this lane now. I mean, it's just, I'm trying to weigh up in my head, is it better to shut down the Yi, or like try and get your Singed. And part of me feels like that Alawi's actually pretty good into Singed and can sustain and fight him at 6-7 anyway. And I think if you were to just continually shut down the Yi, because Yi needs items to be doing damage, that would have been better. So I think that the actual right move there was to double Rift Scuttler, get into Yi's face, take his Raptors as well. You have constant mid priority with Syndra, and then double Rift Scuttler him and just making sure you're just constantly tracking him. And then, but you still do need to balance farming as well. So given what I've seen right here, I mean, we'll see how the rest of the early game goes, but I think taking Krugs and base in there, that was definitely the right move. Definitely need you to start looking to go bot for Dragon as well. I mean, I would be wanting to get every early Dragon, the fact that I'm against a pretty weak Ezreal and I have a Thresh Jhin lane. So this is really good. Coming down here, he actually didn't get Rift Scuttler. Okay. Interesting. I really like this control ward here. Did I talk to you about this control ward, or was it someone else last week?
Last week, I think you would talk to somebody right before me, and we're talking in depth about it. But yeah, you mentioned about it. So the just afterwards as well.
Better way to place this ward is here. You're actually missing out on a lot of vision potential. So place it right on the edge here, and that will give full access to you be able to see if Yi's walking into here. But I love this ward to take Dragon. I always, if I can get this ward, I'll get this ward off to do Dragon, because again, it gives so much control. They'll be able to, you'll be able to see easily if they're, coming in. And also the thing is they get, so if I'm a jungler walking into a ward like this, I'm thinking, oh, this is going to be so hard for me to like steal Dragon or even walk into here because it's going to be so obvious. And I'll need to spend like 4 seconds, 4 auto attacks to kill this ward, right? So it's very annoying. So that's why I love that ward. It's really, really good. But good Dragon core. You have bot priority. You have mid priority. So yeah, in terms of where Yi is right now, where would you say Yi is? You actually do see you ping back pings in terms of tracking the enemy jungler.
Yeah, I saw him go towards his Raptors right after I got denied his Scryers and Blast Cone and got that control ward off behind Dragon. So I'm thinking that he's going Raptors and then might be headed towards his bots or top side right after that. But I think he actually backs because he's looking for his red buff. So right here, I'm thinking that he might be top. But I think he actually backed right after taking those Raptors, and he's just going back towards his bot side to finish those.
Yeah, so that's the case. And actually, this would also take me off guard as well. Like, this is really inefficient from the Yi. He should be doing Wolves, Gromp, and then base in to go red. So I saw the pings that you did here. You are right in terms of that's where I would assume the Yi is. But, I mean, this is still fine. I mean, what I'll be doing right now is just farming, probably full clearing my jungle, even like doing red, Krugs, and then base, and then look to keep going bot side, pressure this. I actually really do want you to try and start ganking this Varus mid. Ideally, I wanted you to actually burn a flash on Varus much earlier, so then when you came for level 6, you could have come and ganked this guy easily. But
yeah, that would have been.
But that's like ideal scenario again. Like I mean, I didn't actually focus too much on the wave position. The wave position was in mid lane. I think that Syndra actually did have priority constantly, so that would have been maybe difficult. But that would have been best case scenario, because Varus is very vulnerable in terms of Jarvan and Syndra ganks. Because right now, I mean, Varus has pretty much got a free early game, which is not what I would have wanted. Yeah, go on.
I was just going to say, right after that Dragon, I saw the time, and I thought I could clear my full blue side, back, refresh my control words, get some items, building into my warrior, and then it'd be 30 seconds before Herald would spawn, and then I could look for my red buff and vision control on the Herald and try and go for that. I believe also I'd find the Master Yi inside of his jungle, and this is where I make a huge mistake. I spend like a minute after after getting on that Yi and being able to kill him there. I spend a minute after Alawi flashes of not getting the Herald directly after that.
Okay.
So I lost so much time. I gave him so much room to breathe there. Yeah. I literally looked at how inefficient I was there after the Alawi flashed.
Okay, so yeah, I agree. I think that base after blue, I did say maybe go red Krugs, but I think that makes a lot more sense. Get control wards, and then if you're looking for Rift Shell, which is great, we do have a very good early game right now. I love that you're focusing on getting Rift Shell next objective. Then you can be using it, to either break mid or bot. Again, I'm not too fussy about top anymore. I think that you're going to have way more impact breaking either mid or bot with Rift Shell. So this is really good. The invade on Yi was really good. You obviously knew that his second blue buff was up, because I mean, you obviously knew that you had the timer on it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this is great invade for you. You have priority here. So I love that you skipped Raptors. Come here. I mean, this is pretty perfect. Yi burns flash. You kill him. Even the way you fight Alawi here, this is exactly how you want to fight Alawi. Force him to burn his ult. Back off. Wait for your team. He flashes. So yeah, right now you need to be doing Rift Herald. No chasing.
Yeah.
Right
I
now.
spent literally a minute trying to do other stuff. I try to get more vision, try to gank the mid, or after I chased the Alawi that whole time, and it was just over a minute, I believe, of wasted time.
So your thought process to gank this Varus shouldn't be, you should not even be walking here. There's no reason for Varus to walk. He knows your top side, right? You don't have ultimate. He still has his flash. He's going to push this wave and just go move bot side, right? So you shouldn't even be looking to you shouldn't even be pathing this way, because this is not gankable in a million years. Unless Varus literally, for some reason, forgets that you're top side, but he should. So yeah, you're wasting a lot of time here. And you've said it yourself. And this is really big. Now your bot lane's losing. You're losing a lot of momentum time. Yi's back on the map from that death now.
Yeah, for sure.
And now you're missing your EQ combo on him and not put pressure on him anymore. So you pretty much lost your opportunity to do, Rift Herald now.
Okay, so after I missed that the combo on him and everything, should I have just looked to back and go bot side, or was I fine doing the Rift Herald there?
Well, I mean, this is a risky Rift Herald because both your laners are based now, right? So you are basically gambling right now. But, I mean, you do have Rift Scuttler, so I guess this is okay decision. But what the safer play I potentially would have done is, way back here. There's just no point going on Yi anymore, because you actually don't want to fight Yi, because if a fight breaks out right now, Yi, your Singer's basing doesn't have teleport. You don't exactly, or you do technically going to have mid priority, but this is not a fight you want to get yourself into. So I would just instantly right now, Raptors, Krugs, base, go bot side, and then, keep trying to do this win condition. But I still want you to try and focus on getting Rift Herald. But if you actually see what happens here is that you do Rift Herald and then Yi ganks bot, and then, so imagine if you were looking to come here right now,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, maybe you wouldn't have made it here on time, but again, the thought process here was, I mean, it's obviously good, but again, you're looking at pure luck here, because you didn't know Yi was there until he was there, until Rift Herald was on 20% health, right? Yeah. So still good you got the Rift Herald. So you just did Krugs there, not Raptors. I still think that's actually okay in terms of momentum, tempo. Dragon is up right now. Love that control ward again. Okay, so
yeah, so this is where the the sloppy 4-on-2 comes bot lane. I think after the tri-brush, going through the tri-brush, I should have seen the engage. Well, actually, no, I guess it was a bit too late after I'd gone through tri-brush, but right after Ezreal lands his ult, after I see that coming out, I think I should have EQ'd directly towards my Syndra, in between the Syndra and Leona. And after messing all of that up, I absolutely just panic ulted there to try and get as much damage as I could off before I died. But yeah, that was an absolute panic ult. I should have just EQ'd towards my team, unless you think anything different.
Well, I mean, it's sort of the right idea. This is sort of, I mean, Ezreal actually just plays this pretty damn well, to be honest.
Yeah, he does.
So, I mean, this is I potentially would have done the same thing. But, I mean, the thing you also need to do with Jarvan is really think, how squishy you actually are. And you are walking into a huge minion wave right now. I mean, in hindsight, you just walk here and then just, kill the Leona that they're on, right?
Okay.
But, I mean, again, I don't want you to get too much into this, because this is sort of just, unfortunate fight. Ezreal does sort of one-shot you. But, yeah, this is really bad dying like this. Because now Dragon, like, you know, you're going to have to wait some time to do Dragon now.
For sure.
Does Yi actually get a bunch of kills? And that's the worst thing possible if Yi gets kills. No, he doesn't get kills. So yeah, that's going to be pretty much all I'm going to go over the early game. But yeah, there's not much too much to look into. I think you played that pretty well, the early game. Except for that, I mean, again, it's all the small things that add up that really impact your game. And yeah, I guess doing that Rift Herald delay was definitely hurt you. And I really think that you actually shouldn't have worried about Alawi top really at all, to be honest.
Okay. So you think that early pathing was fine, the right idea, to try and just get some early
to pressure the Yi was the right idea.
And then
the getting into Yi's face is definitely what I want to do as Jarvan.
Okay, awesome.
So yeah, there's nothing really more to. I mean, it would be great to actually have looked, you know, into the mid game, but I would be playing around my Syndra right now. Syndra's 2-0. I would be actually really looking to kill this Varus over and over and over again. But the thing is, with this Varus, his first, technically you need to burn his flash first, unless you get a really good combo with Syndra, and then you can regank and then ult him. So
okay.
Yeah, was there any other questions you had around what we looked over?
I don't believe so. When I'll usually take Last Stand into, like I was saying, more like prolonged fights, into tankier champions, bruisers, and then I look to take Red Smite into more like close up in your face melee champions.
Yeah.
So do you think Red Smite was good inside this scenario?
Maybe.
I was thinking the only ones that. Okay, in my head, I was thinking that the only ones that Blue Smite would benefit against would be like the Ezreal, Varus, since they're ranged squishies. So I felt a little 50-50 on that idea as well.
Yeah, this is another 50-50. As much as I want to give you just a direct answer, it's pretty 50-50. Because obviously, it will help you a lot versus Yi. I mean, sometimes the way you want to be playing against Yi as, like, you know, the Jarvan that you're going Warrior, you're pretty strong in terms of being able to one-shot people. The Blue Smite gives you more one-shot potential rather than Red Smite, because you sort of need to wait for the burn to kick in, right? So sometimes it could be the difference, like that extra little bit of health you get to kill Yi can win you a fight. But again, that's very situational, very luck based, and I think Red Smite's fine, but Blue Smite could have also worked. But again, I think that Varus should have been more of a priority in terms of win condition this game. That's really all I can say. Maybe you could have communicated with Syndra a little bit more and looked at mid-wave a little bit more to see when he actually was gankable. And maybe one thing you do is actually go back over the VOD and actually see if actually Varus was gankable mid. Yeah,
for sure. I'll do that.
All right. Great, Jackson. Thanks for coming on again, and I'll see you next time.
Appreciate it. Take care.
You too. Bye-bye. Okay, so that was our first one. Jackson, I'll take a look at the chat right now. How's it going, Poltron? How do I say your name? SPCTCL. Spectre or something like that. What's going on, Spectre? Okay, we are going to jump into our next person, who's going to be Barkley, also a friend of the show. Let's go switch to this scene here. Get Barkley's game up. And this is going to be a Zac game. So Barkley's gold at the moment. This is a Zac game I'm going to be looking over. This is 6-3, 7-3, 17. All right, Barkley, you are on the air.
All right.
So this is a Zac game of yours. You do win. You go 7-3, 17. Why do you want to look over this game specifically?
There was some decision making in the early game that I had that I was kind of forced into because they 5-man invaded my top lane, which kind of threw me off. And then there's also a couple times where, like, I feel like I'm farming when I should be helping my team, but I kind of want to hear your thoughts on it. Like, I feel like I get stuck in the loop of like farming when there's stuff going on. Okay, so yeah, we can definitely take a look at that. Runes, you go in here, Aftershock,
Font of Life, Conditioning, Revitalize, Magic Footwear, Cosmic Insight, CDR, Armor Health. Great. I think your runes are literally perfect this game. So tell me about what you're thinking in terms of early game. And I do really talk about this a lot in terms of tanks. Is really prioritize trying to get like level 4 first before you really do anything, so you're not getting the chance of getting counter invaded. And also for Zac, I really like holding my passive and not getting into sticky situations until a dragon fight. Because if your passive's down for a potential dragon fight, like that's not ideal. And Zac's passive is the strongest thing about him, right? So I try and like avoid, I always minimize risk as Zac in terms of the early game. But given that, tell me about what you're thinking in terms of early game. So they've actually seen an invade right here, but ignore that. Like, what were you thinking in terms of early jungle path?
All right, I'm not there yet on the video, but there it is. I wanted to start blue and do Gromp Wolves, Raptors Red, Krugs, look for Scuttle Crab. And I found that after I do that full path clear and get the crab, I'm at like 75% health, and I'm level 4, which is more than enough health to gank with. So I was going to go for a level 4 gank on bottom.
Okay, we'll see how the gank plays out. In terms of, I mean, I really like shutting down a Misfortune, and it is good that you have a Nautilus CC to combine. I think Jinx is a great win condition in general. If you're a tank with a Hypercarry AD, definitely be looking to get them ahead. Yas is also very good in terms of, obviously, Yas Zac is a very good combo. Annie is, I mean, she's a little bit the sort of champion that can turn ganks, but you the fact that you're Zac passive and you have Zac, you can literally just tank all her damage. She can't kill you, right? So I think bot side of the map is definitely your win condition. I wouldn't be worried about Darius at all. Darius can kill Zac pretty easily, and you're not going to have the damage between you and Cho'Gath, at least early, to kill Darius. So definitely like that you're starting blue buff.
Well, I do get pushed off of it.
But you do get pushed off of it. Okay, so let's take a look at it here.
Yeah, the delay's not too bad today, it seems.
Great. Okay, so you actually walk back into here and burn flash.
Yeah, when I went back through this and took notes on it, the very first note is like, why did I go back?
So,
and the thought process at the time was I wanted to put a ward in there, and so I could be 100% sure he actually takes it, because that would give me an opportunity to like really play around bot side and just like split the map with him. But for some reason, in a lot of my recent games, like they'll do these kind of invades, and then I'll come here later and they didn't take my buff. So I wanted to see.
People usually do back out, especially if a ward is placed and people see it. They will back out. So what you actually should have done here is you're actually in ward range here, I think. Ward this and then like back out, but I mean obviously they're all in here and maybe they walk up like right now and then they actually flash. So I would have waited a little bit longer, because the thing with invades is in terms of like right now the buffs don't spawn for another 30 seconds or so. So if you just wait them out, like think about it, Alistar needs to go bot, right? So he has to go bot eventually. He can't just sit here until like 1 minute 20 seconds. So if you still want to start blue, maybe you still can. I potentially would have actually just conceded it and actually not even worried about blue and went just to my red now. You would have had time, because I just don't want to deal with this crap like at all. Like, to be honest, a Trundle, Darius, like they will actually beat you 2v2 pretty hard. They can actually force you off this. So if Trundle wants this blue, he can get that blue. You need to respect that fact and just go to your red right now.
Yep, that's what I do.
But you burnt flash.
I did, yep. I shouldn't have gone back for the ward.
Shouldn't have gone back at all, right? So definitely not ideal losing your flash early. And they actually do take it, so they do take your blue. So you just really need to really think about, how can I not get invaded as Zac? Try and prevent it as much as early, because if you can get a free level 4 off again, that's when that's like great for you. That's perfect early game essentially. Because the thing about Zac is trading sides of the map is actually difficult, because Zac isn't actually good at counter jungling buffs. Like Zac isn't really a good like a single target damage type champion, especially the fact you have Hunter's Talisman. So like if I get into a situation where I need to do blue buff, I want to avoid those situations as much as possible. Sometimes I actually might not even bother about getting the blue and maybe just accepting I've lost a buff down and just keep farming. But I think given the fact that you do have a red, and Trundle should be going to take his red, maybe you have time, but I think it actually is important just to do your Krugs here, because if you get into the situation where you are invading and Trundle actually decides to go from blue to blue, and this is warded by the enemy team, like they have priority, that would have been really risky. So in this situation, I actually would just concede my red buff, do Krugs, Raptors, and actually invade and actually check Trundle's jungle. Because what I assume that Trundles don't like really to do Raptors. If you could steal a Raptor camp, that would be great for you, sort of trade in what you lost for blue. And if you see in bot side, then you can actually take Krugs as well, base, then go back bot side for your Krugs, and that's actually a pretty free early game. So does that make sense?
It's close to what I do. I go Krugs, Raptors here, and then I see that my Yasuo has Annie shoved under her tower, and I think they get a kill bot lane, so I actually go for his blue. Okay. Because my bot lane and mid lane had priority.
So yeah, so Trundle actually has gotten his red, so that's pretty expected. And now he's actually doing his Raptor camp, so I didn't expect that. But let's see what you do here. So you're pinging the blue now. And again, I think that the blue, like, it's great that your Nautilus is actually coming up here. So this is good. Yeah, this is actually a great decision to priority this. But if you didn't have priority, you shouldn't have done this, you know?
Oh, I never would have. No, no way.
Yeah. So you see Trundle mid. Great, he's pretty low health
and
as
seeing
well.
seeing Trundle mid and low, I actually greed for his Gromp as well.
I wouldn't say this is great. This is great decision making. All right, so we're getting.
He's super low, burns flash, so I'm like, okay, I get Scuttle too.
Okay, so this is a situation where I actually wouldn't gank bot at all. I'm actually pretty comfortable with the situation Jinx and Nautilus is in right now. These guys are pretty like full health right now. There's going to be a big wave, so you always need to look at where the wave is coming, right? So because your wave is there, there's going to be a big wave here. This is actually going to be a pretty messy gank potentially. What I actually want you to do, the safer thing to do here is Raptors, Wolves. Actually, no, sorry, Raptors, check top Rift Skull. You could have actually maybe double Rift Skulled this Trundle, which would have been, that's actually best case scenario for you. Then do your Wolves, Gromp, and then start pressuring bot. Dragon will be back up by then. I think that this is a little bit, like, risky. But it looks like it does work. I'm looking at the kill scores right now.
And, I mean, I'll just come flat out and say it right now. Like, I do not understand what you or any other coach is talking about when you guys are talking about, like, watch the waves and look at the minion waves and stuff. Like, I don't get minions at all.
Okay, well, we can like go over this. I mean, a little bit. I mean, like, did you understand the part where I said about looking at your minion wave to see where their minion wave is, right? So it's always opposite. It's all what's the word? Minion.
That I do understand, and I use that to steal Krug steal Krugs all the time. I do, and I understand that they match each other.
Oh yeah, so when you're stealing Krugs, you're gonna make sure you don't get seen on the wave, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. So, whenever a full wave, especially a cannon wave, is coming up when you're ganking, that's something you want to avoid because then you're going to be into a wave. And, like, obviously lots of champions have, like, ways that, like, minions can block their abilities, specifically Nautilus Hook, right? So Nautilus Hook, you can't have minions in the way because you'll hook the minion. So ganks just become a lot more difficult when a minion wave is there, especially a cannon minion wave. A cannon minion waves, they do a lot of damage, right? And, I mean, that's the other thing. Minions actually do a lot of damage. So that was more the reason why I didn't want you to gank this. And I was already happy with how bot lane was going. Like, Jinx actually doesn't actually want chaos in this stage of the game. Like, she's up in CS by 3 CS. I'd rather have just, again, played it safer. And done that. But, I mean, you know, this still looks like it works. Because the other thing as well here is, let's say you've shown bot right now, then you actually open yourself up to Trundle taking your topside jungle for it. Versus you could have had his Gromp, you could have been clearing this right now, and you could have still come and gang spot. So some of the situations that you're in as a jungler is like, sure, you can do this, but sometimes you can do both, and that's the best case scenario. And in this situation, you could have done both.
All right. Yeah, my thought process there was just like, I'm in the area. I know Trundle's gone. I know Trundle burned his flash, so you can't really contest or do anything. And bot lane was like hard shoving into us. We got a Nautilus and Jinx traps. Like, I felt like it was just super free. But like you said, I probably could have done both, you know?
Yeah. All right. So coming top here again, I would not be looking top at all. I don't like that you've shown again. That's the thing. I mean, I always talk about this in my videos. Showing as a jungler is worst case scenario. Like, he's just dead here. As soon as he's burnt flash, and, you know, Darius hasn't used his E hook thing yet, like, he's just dead. Just leave him.
Okay.
Don't show on the map.
Yeah, I'm in the notes that I've got over here. It basically says, like, I probably shouldn't have shown top here. He was dead anyway.
That's right. Like, you could have maybe sneaked Rift Scuttler whilst that was happening, which would have been great for you.
You know what's really stupid about this is I get Rift Scuttler.
Okay, you do.
Trundle walks right past it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Gold is how this happens.
Alright, farm. Yas is killing mid. So Yas is a great win condition for you. I mean, bot side of the map, this is actually great for you. So definitely be looking to potentially get a dragon. But no, Yas has actually just died here. You actually might lose dragon. It does look like you lose dragon from this. This is just pretty unfortunate.
Yeah. As soon as Yasuo died, I gave up dragon in my head.
Yep.
Yeah.
I love the decisiveness. If you can instantly decide when to concede an objective based on X, what you've just said there, Yas died, concede drag, then it makes you the rest of your pathing just so much more efficient because you know what to do next, you know? It's always when you get into the situation where you don't know what to do next, where you start walking around mindlessly as a jungler. If you can instantly be like, concede, do this, like, you're going to save so much time and maybe even make a play somewhere else.
Yeah. Well, oddly, it's I don't understand why this worked. I'm glad it did, but I don't know why it did. My bot lane goes ham on these guys. Like, they're just walking right up to him. So I feel like I have to get over here. Otherwise, they're dead.
I think this is great. And he's not reacting. Yeah. You guys can kill this really fast. I mean, you flash Q. That's great Zac mechanics. I think that was a great decision by you. Is that Yas? Because the thing is, Yas was back on the map. He's actually pretty strong still. So even if a fight was extended, you still have your Zac passive, right? I'm happy to take that. I would actually want more members to come there because I'll get more kills because Yas is back, you know? So definitely right decision there. Red Krugs. And now you need to base instantly. You are much weaker without Barmy Cinder. Cinderhawk is 1,500 gold, is it?
Yes.
Base and get Cinderhawk.
Yep.
Is it 1,500 or 1,600? Actually, I'm not too sure. So when you have skirmishes, I should know this. I mean, your Stalker's Blade. Does anyone in the chat know? I can't believe I don't know this. I feel like my gut feeling's 1,500. Like, so
it's 15, yeah.
So it's definitely 1,500, right? Because Barmy Cinder is 900 and then... Yep, you're right. Yep. Cool. So yeah, base and buy Cinderhawk, go straight top side, be efficient, clear these, and then keep going bot side. You do have a control ward. So yeah, I actually took notes here saying like I waste like a full minute here. Okay.
Yeah.
So I think the much better decision. I don't even want you to worry about Rift Scuttler in a way right now because so right now I know that Jinx. Like, looking at Jinx's items, like, she wants to base pretty soon, right? And I actually don't want you to place this control, because this control will die very easily, because they will base, there's no pressure anymore. Again, concede Rift Scuttler, whatever. Maybe Trundle won't get it again. As soon as Krugs base, go topside, and then they can waste their time bot, because your bots would have based by then. Then you can, you know, start looking to pressure again with control wards. And I want you to save this control, because it's a wasted control ward, because you're not going to pressure anything, because again, you need to base for Cinderhawk. Super important item spike.
Yep. So what's coming up in the next couple seconds is I see Jinx go back and spend her money, and she gets kind of like an item spike going, and they're just going back to lane like hard shoving, pinging the enemy champions and stuff, and I figured that's exactly where I probably need to be. Okay. Even though I just cleared my bot side camps, even though I just cleared the bot side scuttler, like I feel like bots are where I want to go.
So you're talking about after this mid thing?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this is a situation where you need to clear. I mean, I guess bots push in. There, this is see how everything would have been prevented here if you just did base after Krugs.
If I would have based, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And this is the situation that you can get yourself into, and it's always a situation that I avoid by doing that decision, just to base and just do spend my item, because now you technically are maybe forced to go bot, and then guess what? You're missing all your topside camps again.
Yep.
So like again, seeing how that little decision, that moments, that time, has really stuffed up the game for you a little bit in a way. I mean, you obviously still win this game, but it's not ideally your bot here with your entire topside jungle taken, because if you show bot, then Trundle can obviously come and take all your topside, and you'd rather, again, going back to do both. do both.
Okay. So here I'm thinking I have my passive up. We have vision all over the bot side. Trundle's mid. We have a Nautilus. We have a Jinx. Jinx just got a whole bunch of power, so we're diving.
Yep, love it. That's when Zach's strongest. Get tower. All right. Yeah, I think your early game's pretty good, Barkley. Couple of things there in terms of, knowing when, just be patient when invades happen. You see them, wait for them. But again, in that situation, just assessing the 2v2. All right, can we, like if Darius and Trundle was to invade us, like can we contest them? And the answer for Zach is mostly no, unfortunately.
Yeah, no, he doesn't do very good fighting in the early game.
Very poor. And the other thing here was, going again a little bit back into efficiency in jungle path. And obviously we've talked about it a lot, Barkley, around that. Because there's little things we're picking up in each game that I think if you start piecing them together, like, you've obviously, I've seen massive improvements already. So I can't say there hasn't been improvements. But if you can slowly polish up like this basing, like it's a bit more understanding of like tempo and momentum. And, obviously Cinderhulk is, obviously a huge item spike. So you need to be getting that ASAP.
Okay.
All right. Any other questions you have, Barkley?
No, that's it.
Excellent. All right. Thanks for coming on. I'll see you next time.
Yep.
All right. So that was our second guest, Barkley. We'll jump quickly into our next guest. This is actually first time on the show. Kanak Boss, I think is how you pronounce it. Let me just jump on. Oh, he's already on North America. Great. All right, Kanak Boss, you're on the air. If you want to unmute your mic and we can jump into this.
Yep. Hey there. How are you doing?
It's Paul, right? Is it Paul?
Yes. Yes,
Great.
it is.
I remember you from the chat. The last week, the last YFJC show, you wanted to come on, right? So
yeah.
Great to have you on here. You've been on the Discord server for a while. Let's start taking a look and seeing what you can be improved on. So I'm just taking a look at your game here. This is the Graves game of yours, right? The 4-5-4-1? Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
And how has your ranks been going so far this season?
Fine. My first 5 games of like placements were kind of rough, so I lost the boosted gains in that. So my climb's been slower than I'd like, but I'm maintaining somewhere in the mid 50s for a win rate, so I'm fine with that for now.
It's better than a negative win rate, so that's definitely good.
Exactly.
What's your goal for this season for ranked?
So I've been plat like the last 3 seasons, so ideally Diamond 4 is the target, but take it one step at a time.
Absolutely. So Platinum 4, is that your highest? Like what have you been like?
No, I was like P2 last season.
Okay. So you're definitely like about a whole division below right now, so not ideal, but let's take a look. So what do you think you're really struggling with in terms of your gameplay then? Like
just like this game in particular is a game where I got a lead. My early path I felt comfortable with where I was going and that kind of thing. I just didn't. I feel like I'm not leveraging it hard enough. When I get leads, I'm not using that to get more leads. I'm just making the safe plays from there.
Yeah, I could definitely see that as a problem. I mean, a lot of the reviews that I do, I talk about accelerating the game when you have a lead, and sometimes people just get into situations where like the game should have ended 10 minutes ago, and then they get into those team fight stages, which is what I hate as a jungler, because it's slowly the game's starting to get out of your control because you're always...
Because that's kind of what happened this game. I felt like I was way ahead, but then 2 minutes passed where I didn't keep getting that accruing a lead, and then after those 2 to 3 minutes it felt like nothing, right?
Yeah, definitely a pretty big problem. So tell me about your early jungle pathing. What are you thinking right now?
So here I see like bot lane's not a very good gank target. Just like, although Sona's squishy, I just unless Tarek's like flashing on Sona, I don't see killing that necessarily.
Okay.
And Kaisa in general too just wants to, like, as Graves, I don't think I'm gonna get on an Ashe Sona lane that wards. I see Fiora as a decent lane to gank because I know early lane Mordekaiser can push, and I think that's a lane if I can shut that down, Fiora can get a good split push going and play around mid when I can. I try never to ignore mid. just because it's easy to play around it while you're focusing either side wave.
Okay, yeah, so parts of that I agree with. I actually completely opposite in terms of ganking the Ashe and Sona lane. The fact that they are going to be most likely, I would say, actually push in early game. Ashe is actually pretty obnoxious with Sona, and I actually don't want these guys to scale at all. What I and you know how you said that, well, yeah, sure, you can gank it with a flash Taric, and yes, you can, and you should do that.
Yeah.
You know, like that's the
I think it's one of those things where I can sometimes be hesitant about ganking bot when it's not like a Leona or a Nautilus where their engage is kind of easier on the player.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So based on that, the actual jungle path I want you to do is red, Krugs, Raptors, come down here, do your blue, literally E over this wall, and just come down here and burn 2 flashes.
Okay.
Or even maybe get some kills. Like, Graves is actually really good at that jungle path, and I love that jungle path on Graves if I think bot lane's a good priority. I mean, there's just almost very, very rarely a Sona and Ashe will be like pushed. I'd say it's almost impossible to be pushed under tower at that moment. Because, I mean, that's still pretty early in the game. The waves are still around neutral. They would have just hit about level 2-ish. I think that would have been the best jungle path you could have done this game. So we'll actually see. I'm actually curious to see how the lane plays out bot and see if that was possible.
Yeah.
So we're doing that. And, okay, the other thing as well, you are against a Zac. So, yes, your sort of mindset with Graves is you want to be power farming because you do start to get pretty strong. But Zac is actually pretty easy for... I love Graves into Zac, and I hate playing into Graves as Zac because you can dodge his E very easily. You can dodge all his abilities. You can just destroy him, right? So, maybe even another option here is actually to do your Wolves, Red, and actually invade and check his top side. That's another option.
I could see that. Yeah. I think I just ended up like basically doing full clear into top gank here, but yeah.
Yeah, so I think that might be a bit too much of a safe option. And this is in terms of how, you know, talking back to like, you have an advantage and accelerate. Like technically the game hasn't started yet, but you have an advantage just based on champions. And look at this, actually, look at where bot is. They are pushing.
Yeah, and this is around the exact time I'd be there. I'd be there a little earlier, like 5 seconds before this, but yeah.
Like how perfect would this have been?
Yeah,
you're right. And again, now this is the situation I can't get into this game. This is if Ezreal and Sona are free, especially if you show topside, that's even the worst thing possible. Because now Ezreal and Sona the Ashe and Sona can literally just be like relaxing on a beach. They're just going to slowly scale up. And like Sona gets out of control. And if someone's picking Sona, if someone has the balls to pick Sona in my games, like as a jungler, you're going 0 and 5 or 0 and 10. Like you cannot let a Sona scale. I mean, how many games do you get to a point where Sona hasn't died once and then it's just like you can't ever win any skirmish ever again because she just heals everyone and she's doing so much damage as well. So I think that early jungle path in here was really big in this game.
Yeah, because that would change where I have my impact, and in general, getting bot lane ahead can lead to so much more on the map early.
Well, that's right. I mean, in general, people literally say if their bot lane loses, they feel like they lose the game. So, I mean, you don't want to fall into that trap. Sometimes top can be a win condition, but specifically, again, the fact that you're into Sona and Ashe, just slaughter these guys with your Taric. Right, great. You do get 2 kills up there. You win that skirmish.
Yeah. My thought when I was coming up here was that I thought Zac would be up here, so my thought was to follow his pathing and try to counter gank, but I guess I should have pathed towards bottom and just pinged him off top lane. But yeah.
Yeah, I'd really doubt that a Mordekaiser and a Zac can kill a Fiora at like this early in the game as well. So I'm happy with that. And even if they do, I'm sure they'll have to burn a bunch of summoners for that, which will be still good. So I mean, this is still pretty good early game for you right now. You're going to kill this guy as well. Okay. I mean, you're 2-0-2 right now on Graves. Let's see how you can accelerate your lead. Okay, so what I want you to do here is definitely don't want you to gank bot. Bot's literally ungankable right now. They've got too much poke. This is what's going to happen. And this is why I need you to be bot earlier, because it gets to the point where even if these guys are in a good position, your laners are so poked out that you can't actually gank, you know?
Yeah, we'll see that. We'll see that in a moment after I do the scuttle here, because I end up going down there. It doesn't end up going poorly. We end up blowing a heal, but it's not the best either.
So think about how much momentum and tempo you lose this game.
Yeah.
It's really, really big. Like, ideally what I wanted you to have done is taken the Raptors from Zach, do Rift Scuttler, then base and go topside for Krugs, Raptors, Wolves, and actually look to just get Dragon.
Yeah.
And then you would have been like almost level 7 by then. You would have been so far ahead.
And just because I know the gold totals right now, if I did Scuttle and Raptors, that's right there.
Yeah, that's Warrior right there.
Yeah.
There you go. That's a huge item spike.
Because I know after this gank I go and I do Grump here because I'm one camp away from Warrior.
Yeah. But again, ideally I don't want you to do this because you're losing so much momentum. But so yeah, again, that's another fact there. I mean, we obviously Barkley's review about not basing at the correct time and creating a path around your win condition. Like this is sort of that. Just don't fall into the trap of like thinking you're ahead, especially when you don't have items. At like 6 minutes, you actually, because everyone's starting to get levels, like you actually don't do as much damage as like an early gank anymore, right? So you're actually pretty weak as Graves without having any AD items. So again, your lanes were poked out. The huge bad decision to gank there because you lost so much to tempo momentum and you could have been way further ahead right now. I mean, like right now you could have had cleared Raptors and be looking to do Dragon, like just steal it in front of Zach's face right now, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's particularly the thing I was missing. I even past the like changing my path because I don't think like my path isn't gonna it's all like League of Legends is a game of percentage points. So like
that's right, yeah.
Like one mistake isn't the end, but I think even with the path I did taking the Raptors when you were talking about that, the Raptors then the Scuttle rather than what I did with the bot gank. Just like little decisions like that are the things I miss in the mid game.
Because now, look at this, you've had to go bot side now because obviously you want to go there for Dragon and let's say your win conditions bot, but now you miss all your top side camps. And remember getting Krugs is so important. I talk about it all the time, especially your second Krugs. That gives the most experience in gold of any camp. And you're missing that, you know? So definitely Parthian's a really big one. So you do come bot here. I really like that you're coming to bot here to gank this. Great. Okay, do Dragon now. Alright, what happens here? Oof, okay, you didn't set up this Dragon properly. So you need to figure out where Echo and Zach is before you do this. And just be patient. Just wait you should have actually helped your bot push this wave out and the next wave. Then, like, hopefully Echo's shown on the wave, and then you can decide to do Dragon or not. Hopefully Yas has actually pushed this out, because remember, if Echo's going to waste time here, Yas is getting free CS. So this is patience. And remember, Zach can engage really well. Like if you're committing to something and you're like stuck, you have used your E, you know, that's like worst case scenario for you. So and now you're actually shown on a ward, so you're literally sitting dark right now if Zach is here and Echo, and look, that's the case. You die.
And I should have known they were there just because like that fog it's like obvious that they're there.
That's right.
In hindsight.
And they know where you are, so why would they not engage on you when you're not expecting it?
Yeah, it ends up this extended trade ends up not great, but it's like passable. But we keep trying to do the Dragon, which I don't think this is a good play here.
You guys obviously, I mean, you guys didn't have a smite, so that's not out of your control. You weren't there, but what was in your control there was to set up Dragon properly. And I always say that sometimes if you get sloppy on Dragon setups, you can just lose it like that, you know. And it's annoying. That shouldn't have happened. You were 4-0-4 Graves. Like, there's no reason you shouldn't be getting whatever objective you choose, you know.
And if I build out the decision tree of that, if I handle that Dragon properly, then that doesn't give my teammates the opportunity to do that.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
All right, Paul. That's all I'm going to go over from your early game. Hopefully that was helpful for you.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
Take it into your next games, and obviously, get back to platinum.
Yep, that's the goal. Probably next day or two, I'll get it, and then we'll go from there.
Excellent. I'm looking forward to changing your role from gold to platinum in Discord, and that's very satisfying for me. All right.
All right. Thanks.
Thanks, Paul. We'll see you next time.
Have a good one.
Okay, so getting through this pretty quickly now. We do have about 40 minutes or so we have 3 more guests. We'll probably need to start powering through the next ones. Next one is going to be Captain Chunk. Excellent. Captain Chunk is a good friend of the show, been on the Discord server for a while. let's get back onto NA. And this was a Trundle game of his. So Trundle, I'm actually really liking recently. I literally just posted a Trundle review talking a little bit about Trundle's build and also how I feel like Trundle, like what actually when to not pick Trundle. But I do think Trundle is good-ish into camp, like some comps with like range champions, but in general, he's very obviously good against tanks. Ornn's very popular recently, and I love picking a Trundle into an Ornn, which is really good to obviously be chewing up his tank stats. But overall, I think that Trundle's really, really good champion right now. All right, Captain Chunk, you are on the air. Can you hear me all good?
Yep, I'm good.
Excellent. I forgot your real life name again. Instead of
Andrew.
Captain Chunk, Andrew, that's the one. All right, Andrew, the game is up on your screen now. This is a Trundle game of yours. So you've actually been
5-1-2, right?
5-1. Wait, let me
Yes,
check.
yeah. It's the Zoe.
All right.
Yep, Zoe jungle.
All right, so we've been talking about it, a bit about it in the Discord, but you're obviously playing a lot of Trundle recently. What are you liking about Trundle at the moment?
I feel like he's really strong, even into bad matchups. At least for my elo, like the no tanks can't really ult. He almost feels like a better Warwick, which I was playing because he can speed around the map with his W. His ganks are really nice with the pillar. And for some reason, you're probably gonna laugh at this, I don't make dumb plays on him like I do other champions. I don't know if it's because I can't actually like have that gap closer and I have to run up, but I make less bad decisions.
The Andrew, the reason Andrew is because, and I've actually experimented with a lot about this and thought a lot about this in League, is you're not capable of making dumb plays at Trundle because it's super easy for Trundle to know when there's a bad play. It's like, I can only auto attack people, whack people with my sting. If I can't do that, then I probably shouldn't go into the play. Versus Jarvan, which you obviously had a lot of issues on, is you actually are so open to so many plays because your champion's so versatile, which actually hurts you, you know? And that's like what happened. And I also see this a lot with Lee Sin players as well. And that's why Lee Sin players struggle so much, is because they can do so much, they take bad decisions all the time. So I think that given that, I think that Warwick and Trundle, I mean, it makes sense why you're having a lot more success on them. And
yeah, and my when I was not having success with Warwick is when I would just like use my ult to jump across the map and miss and be like, oh, I'm dead now.
That's right. Yeah. Well, that's the same situation with that ult, is because that ult is, you can do so much with it and you could technically win team fights with it. You do need to be really thinking about how you use that ultimate and making sure you're getting like 90% ults off versus like, because obviously with Warwick ult, the hardest thing to do is actually hit an ult where like they're not CC'd or they're just walking duking, right? Because that's very difficult.
Right.
So ideally the way you actually get ults off with Warwick is you ult them in your fear. So it's like fear happens, you get the Q off, fear like just about before it ends, lock them up, then that's the best, you know, you can do with it. So anyways, this is a Trundle game. Enough talk about Warwick. Let's take a look at your runes. You go and press the attack. Triumph, Tenacity, Last Stand, Nimbus Cloak, and Water Walking. This is good. And attack speed, AD, and armor. So I actually think there's a lot of options for Trundle runes. Your runes are perfect here, Andrew, but I've really actually started to like Bone Plating and Revitalize. I talked about this in the Discord as well, about when I have champs with like shields or heals, I really like Revitalize works just so well and everything, right? But the fact that you are your Lexus shield isn't too consistent, right? So I think your runes are fine here, especially to use Nimbus Cloak to get on these three champions. And Water Walking for river control. Actually, sorry, wait, it's a Zoe jungle. I thought it was an Olaf jungle.
Right, no.
Okay. Well, the river should...
I probably should have switched to magic resist.
No.
She ends up camping mid like, the entire game, and I could pretty much take free objectives because she really wasn't there to contest it.
So, I mean, there's like almost no way of you knowing that this is a Zoe jungle. This is the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. So I think that taking armor, because you do need to fight Olaf in the jungle and take river control, because I think that Trundle's actually a really good matchup into Olaf. I really like it a lot. Just the fact that you're both like melee champs, but I feel like you have more of that tank threat. as a Trundle, and Olaf builds pretty squishy, right?
Right.
And I think that your counter ganks are actually very good as well. So definitely really like this matchup into Olaf. But again, you got a Zoe jungle. Let's just take a look at how this plays out. So tell me about your early game. What are you thinking jungle pathing wise? Where you want to gank early, put your pressure, which is really important as Trundle because he's a very good level 3 champion.
Yeah, with the Maokai top, I figured I didn't have to worry about that. And if I tried to gank him into the Olaf, like all I would be doing is getting a tank going. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna start red, go bot, get the Lucian and Lux ahead. Even though maybe the Janna's tornado would make things difficult for me, I felt like Maokai, I'm probably not going to go up there like at all. And then if I have to, I can play around the Misfortune mid as well.
Yeah, so I think mid's going to be difficult. It's weird you got a Misfortune in mid versus an Ahri, and especially post 6. Like, I mean, Trundle's not very good into champs that can kite pretty easily and have like jumps and stuff. Like Ahri, potentially gank early, but I would assume that Misfortune will probably be pushing her early, so it might be pretty difficult to gank. I actually do think you can potentially make a play top. I guess it's a Maokai, and in general, like he's not going to do too much to impact the game, but Olaf is very
he actually
vulnerable.
carries top. Like he just takes over and kills
There you
Olaf
go.
the entire game.
All
So I
right.
didn't really need to go there because he was just winning lane.
So based on that, I would have actually done a blue Gromp, Wolves, red into top gank. Just get your Maokai snowballing and like make sure that he's to a point where like Olaf is going to start really struggling to kill him, which would be great. And then you can go bot side and start pressuring bot. Because I really do think I think both is fine. Both is fine. If you can get an early gank off bot, it's definitely good. And Janna is very annoying for Trundle because obviously she can kite you pretty easily, right? So red, Gromp, Misfortune dies.
Yeah, she dies most of the game. Like Zoe just camps her.
Lux misses the pillar there, but you do burn both Jin Sums. Okay, this is good.
Yeah, here was just me trying to pretty much get a flash. Maybe we could get a kill out of it, and then I go back, take the scuttle, and I hang around. And I don't know whether or not I hung around too much because the Lucian is backing, but I eventually come back and do get a kill just with luck. I don't know if it was just lucky.
Okay, well, it's definitely not ideal. If Lux hit that Q, that would have been pretty free kill. Lucian's pretty low. He's had to base. You're moving into here. You get a ward. Rift Scuttler. Oh, okay. So, yeah. So, literally, Maokai solo kills the Olaf somehow.
And then I hit the plant, see that there's no vision, come back. Sort of playing protection, and then it opens up because the Jhin comes up. At that point, the two of us kind of just take him on, and then get Janna's flash and back again. And that's where I decide that bot lane's probably going to be it. And since the Maokai solo killed, he's fine, and I do a bot to top clear, and then look to go bot again.
Okay, so this is going to sound a little strange and not traditional, but the way Lucian has been playing, like the early game stuff like that, I actually think that Lucian, I actually sort of don't trust this Lucian for some reason. I mean,
Yeah, I actually had to mute him because when he got really low right before that first gank, he starts typing in all chats like, "You need to be playing up, why are you not aggressive?" And I'm like, mute.
Yeah.
Like yelling at the Lux for not playing aggressive enough.
So yeah, isn't it funny? Like I didn't even know that, and you said that, and I'm already thinking like maybe we shouldn't be playing around the Lucian, and you literally just told me right here he's like typing in the game and being like, you know, toxic in a way. So, I mean, I still think bot is a potential win condition for you, but just like a note, sometimes when players just start, like I do a gank for them and like they're playing, just they do something strange, I just slowly lose like a little bit of trust in them. I'm like, well, I'll be looking at the game right now. It's like Maokai solo killed this Olaf. He looks like he's pretty capable. Maybe I should just try and get Maokai as a win condition.
Right. And I was thinking maybe, you know, Maokai's a tank. He probably is in a quote unquote win condition, but I guess with the Sunfire cape changes and everything, he could.
Maokai can be terrifying, especially the fact it's actually really good into Zoe and stuff, because if he just gets some magic resist, he can just tank every Zoe Q and bubble, and never die, and it's actually really good. But again, I think both options are still fine. I mean, your early game I think's been perfect so far, Andrew. So this is really good. You haven't based yet. This is fine though. Level 5 at 5 minutes.
And then I realized at this point in the game that I bought. I wanted to go Titanic, and I should have bought a Rejuve bead. And I'm like, oh, I started the wrong. But luckily, I had enough gold to at least get my wards.
Yeah, that can be a pretty crucial mistake. Okay, so specifically this game, I really think that, I mean, this is a tank versus non-tank build situation. The fact you have 2 ADCs, I think you should be going full tank this game, especially the fact that you're versing a lot of like pretty squishy champions. Like, you're just going to be so effective from tank. I mean, these champions can all kite you, so if you're very squishy, Tiamat's not going to help you much, because think about how easily all these champs can kite you. You're just going to be this really OP Trundle. Like with Tiamat, you can one-shot anyone, but you can never get in range to one-shot anyone, right? And I think that going...
You go at Zeke's for this, and...
the fact that...
Or just...
I would go Knight's Vow first, then Zeke's, and then build maybe a Stone Plate or something. Actually, no, then build Spirit Visage.
Okay.
Oh, Stone Plate, actually. I'm not sure. Live stream chat if you have any opinions on the Trundle build, but I definitely think Knight's Vow, just go full support mode. You have 2 AD carries. Like, Lux is going to be building support items, because that's the thing as well, is like, Lux doesn't build those Knight's Vow and Zeke's, right? So someone ideally should be the one building that, and that's why I think Trundle's so good, because you can be so versatile with your builds. You know, you can potentially go the Tiamat, you can potentially go full tank, but right now I think you should be going, again, full tank, because I don't think Tiamat's not going to do any justice this game. Alright, so this control ward here, this is, sometimes when you play aggressive control wards like this, you need to think, how can I defend this ward? Like, you don't have priority bot, you don't have priority mid. This is not, you're just going to lose this ward, you know?
Okay.
So this is the right idea of placing this, because you're obviously looking to set up Dragon, but you can't defend this ward at all, and Zoe's here, right? So this is a waste of a ward.
If I had priority, it would be a good one, or just...
Yeah.
Okay.
So, like, right now, ward, you know? Or, like, do your grump and then come ward, you know? So, yeah, the thing that I don't like about this, Andrew, is now you've been bot side, and yes, I like it that you're coming down here for drag out of base, but ideally you should have been top clearing your camps, because now this is a little bit inefficient. So, you, like, think about it right now. You hit level 5 at 5 minutes and, like, I can't remember what it was, 30 seconds or something like that. It's 7 minutes and you're still level 5. So you had a great early game, but this is a little bit hurting your efficiency, because I talk about this a lot in terms of getting that second Krugs is so important, because it gives you the most experience in gold. Because now you're going to be bot for, I think, a long time. You're going to actually start slowing down in, you know, your momentum from that great early game you had.
Right.
Like, I do like it that you're bot for your win condition, but you need to still be creating efficient jungle paths around your win condition. And you can get, and you have no rush to do Dragon as well, if you think about it. Like, there's a Zoe who's not going to rush a Dragon, impossible, right?
Okay.
You can just,
right.
I was talking to Barkley before, it's like, when you can do both as a jungler, do both. Sometimes you actually have to only do one. Like, let's say if you're versing, let's say if there's a lot going on in this game, and there's lots of fighting, and you burnt both the summoners bot lane, and you feel like Dragon, they're going for Dragon, then you need to ditch your topside camps. But this is a situation where the game's pretty relaxed right now. It's 3v3. Just come top, clear your top side camps, then come down and start pressuring bot again.
Okay.
Alright, Trundle is very good at doing camps. You hit level 6 now. Clear, clear, clear. Okay, so you're coming mid here. Okay, I definitely think this is a pretty
It is a
big
little
mistake.
delayed. Okay, I just saw me hit the I thought when I went mid here I was going to like protect her, but I think I was just too like a couple seconds too.
I mean, I think that I mean, I guess it's okay. Did she kill him? Yeah, I do think you need to come help this. This is fine, but unfortunately, again, this is where Ari just counters you pretty hard. Gets away. push it in.
I think this is where Zoe gets super low, and I'm like, I could probably do Rift Scale, Rift Herald now.
I was just
But
about
she
to
has-
say that. Great, excellent decision here, Andrew. To do Rift Herald, get this. Do Krugs and then base. I need you to do your second Krugs. So yeah, this is pretty important. Like you have so much gold. I don't think it's worth to be rifting. You're not going to break this tower at the end of the
Right, and I went back and looked at the VOD, and I was like, I probably should have gone top and cracked that, 3-plate
Absolutely.
Maokai open.
Absolutely. 3 plates is like, that's a kill range of a tower. And I mean, ideally, I wouldn't have actually wanted you to do it this early. I would have actually wanted you to do Krugs after that. I still got this thing here. Base, full clear back up, create an efficient jungle path. Hopefully Maokai's based by then, spent his gold, got his Sunfire Cape. Then you go break tower. Because
Okay.
I also need you to base and spend your items. Because if a fight breaks out, I need you to be strong. And in terms of
And I
momentum
think-
and tempo over the game, it would have been better. Go on.
I think part of me doesn't, I don't think, I can just go take the Krugs and leave it. Like, I feel like if I do that, I'm, screwing things up. But I see, it gets left alone so much because of where it's placed. Like, I might as well take it, and then you can, now I'm seeing. Like, okay, I'll just go back, I'll clear all the way there, but if I take it first, then I don't even have to worry.
So, I mean, now this is all an issue now because, again, you're from that path that you did and that waste of Rift Herald mid because, you could have broken this tower, right now. You know? And then you and Maokai would have switched bot and actually broken and then actually gotten second dragon and then be looking to actually, I want you to actually 4-man dive bot with Maokai. So you see how
Right.
all these little decisions have really affected this tempo and pace of this game. You should have ended this game, much sooner than 25 minutes is what I'm trying to say from that,
And then once he cracks that tower, he does start coming bot. We kind of take it over at that point.
But I wanted that to happen ages ago, So that's
Right.
just to show that how possible it was that you should have done it way earlier, So you do get dragon here. Oh no, you don't. Gank mid, kill Ari, and then we do dragon. So that's going to be it for the early review for you, Andrew. Overall, I think there's definitely a lot better signs here. You're pretty good at farming. I mean, you sort of messed it up that path in a little bit. Once you hit level 5, you sort of slowed down a little bit too much by, not worrying about Zoe taking dragon and should have just gone topside to clear your camps. But overall, I mean, you're on the climb at the moment, right? Overall, you're
Yeah, I have my silver 3 promos now.
And what's your goal for this season?
At least gold 4.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think definitely seeing a lot of improvements, Andrew, and you're definitely
Thank
out
you.
of your slump, I'd say. I mean, this is,
Mhm.
All right, cool. That's going to be it, Andrew. Thanks for coming on, and I'll see you next time.
All right, see you later.
Okay. So we've got 2 more guests. This is pretty good timing. We do have about 25 minutes or so. Let's see who our next one is. I believe it is AIQ, who's going to be a first-time caller. Oh, his mic was loud bluster. Oh, that's my bad. I maybe should have turned it down a little bit. I'll actually turn down my audio a little bit because it's actually pretty loud for me as well, so it must be pretty bad for you guys. All right, just log in on back to NA here. Seven, 4, 6. All right, AIQ, you're on the air. If you want to unmute your mic, we can jump into this.
Alrighty.
What should I call you, by the way, instead of AIQ? I sound like I'm talking to
AIQ's fine.
AIQ's fine? What's your
that's
real life
fine with
name?
me. It's Josh.
All right, Josh is way easier. I'm going to go for Josh,
Okay.
if that's all right with you.
That's fine.
All right, so taking a look at your match history now. So you're the Shyvana player, right?
Correct.
And taking a look at your match. So this is the 7-4-6 game, right? So you won this game. 22 minutes. This was pretty convincing as well. Okay, so why specifically this VOD did you want to go over?
So primarily my early game, I tend to farm pretty heavily due to the fact that I play Shyvana. And I just want to see a couple of things in game about if I could have done something different, perhaps to get a couple of ganks in or to path a little bit differently. Because I feel like when the game goes right, it goes perfect. But when the game is if anything goes wrong with my laners, they just fall apart completely and totally. And maybe I can do something a little bit more about that, because ideally I want to spend the first 10 minutes farming, but I know that that's impossible to do every game.
Yeah, so I mean, definitely the way League of Legends is nowadays, it is difficult to do that. I mean, obviously that's ideally what you want to do, but I mean, at the end of the day, when you're picking AP Shyvana, you are like the win condition, right? I mean, you need to carry. That's the way you pick it. So, yeah, it's always a tricky one. And sometimes the way you sort of need to view AP Shyvana and how I view it is like, there's games you're going to win and there's games you're just going to lose. You know, it's like a really good, and that's the weakness of Shyvana, and why you don't see it in super high elo, because if you are versus a very good jungler that gets his like a Rexa or something, just gets all his lanes ahead, like if you die once, it's like over, you know? Mm-hmm. So the way I view it is like, some games, like even you said it, you feel like some games are over. Like, I mean, maybe there's something you could do better, but overall, I think that's just the downside of picking AP Shyvana. And you know, every champion has strengths and weaknesses, right?
Yeah. So
let's take a look at your runes. So you're going Dark Harvest, which is pretty standard. So you go Taste of Blood here. What is this normal for Shyvana?
It's a mix between Sudden Impact and Taste of Blood, or you go Inspiration with Boots and CDR. I prefer the healing on this one because I generally get a lot more health out of it and sustain. But sometimes I will switch it up depending on the matchup. But in something like an Amumu, I will run the healing instead.
Okay, so I'm taking a look at, I did a review a while back of Haru Shyvana on his Korean Challenger Pro Player. And his Shyvana, he went Dark Harvest, Cheap Shot, Zombie Ward, Ravenous Hunter, and the second tree he went Magical Footwear and Cosmic Insight. I don't know if you have any thoughts on that.
Yeah, I ran the boots, man, and I'm fine with running the boots sometimes, but the scaling is really what I go for, because I like to play for the mid and late game. I don't like to play for the early game as much, and getting the boots with the way I have farm it's never been costly enough for me to warrant going for the 300 boots.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I actually agree with the way you've gone versus what Haru's gone. I mean, actually, the one thing I think that Cheap Shot's definitely better than with Shyvana than Taste of Blood. I mean, again, you're going for max damage. You don't need to worry about healing. You know, you're gonna die. You're dead. You know, like you're super squishy. But I do like the transcend. I actually like this a lot on Shyvana. I think this makes a lot of sense. This is great scaling. I mean, you're gonna do so much damage, right? So I think your runes are fine, except for maybe I think Cheap Shot's the way to go.
Okay.
And the other one as well is, I mean, Arbor Collection obviously is, Arbor Collection for Zombie Ward. I mean, you are versing a mirror in the jungle. Like, clearing wards is going to be potentially pretty easy. Maybe if you get a river control. Could be another way of you stacking up that rune, but again, overall, I think your runes are pretty fine here. Okay, so yeah, in terms of early path and win condition, obviously you don't really have one except for getting level 4 full clearing, right? Like, you're not really going to really look to gank. Unless, are you looking at a specific lane you sort of want to pressure at all at this stage?
So the way I generally do it is I try to see first where my lanes fall, who's doing well, who's not doing well, and I try to base it off of that. You'll see in the beginning, I assume that that's top, but then I change my mind and I pick bot as my win condition.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's all we really can do as well, because you're not impacting lanes earlier. Like, you're just going to need to sort of choose one once you get level 6 and you're ready to start ganking people. Okay, so full clear, full clear, full clear. Let's get your vision here. Okay, you're actually invading the Amumu here. Okay, well, Pantheon's dead, I guess. This is pretty safe. Do you feel like you just want to fight Amumu? Like, what's the thought process here?
I assumed that he was going to go to the other side, and Pantheon dies afterward, but he had lane priority, and so bot lane did as well. So I assumed that there was no chance for me to get that other scuttle. So I might as well take his Rift Herald, and then hopefully, if it's up, his Raptors. But it ended up working out in my favor because it does come up.
Yeah. I mean, ideally, I want you to at least get one Rift Scuttler, but I agree with you. I think it's a bit difficult here. Like, Pantheon's going to be back on the map. Ori has to base. You're not going to have priority to get this Rift Scuttler. So, definitely really good decision-making here by you. Understanding when you need to concede an objective, just concede it, or a camp. Yeah, so your Raptors came up perfectly. Yeah, this is great for you. I would have been so excited when this happened to me. I mean, doing Raptor camp as AP Shyvana is like the most satisfying thing in League, honestly. Alright, you actually missed two of... I think there's a slight error. You definitely should just leave one up, but... Yeah, just auto attack. Auto attack, 1, 2, 3. Maybe leave 2 up, base. I mean, this is a very small thing. I don't want to harp on it too much, but, you know... Oh, you actually...
Yeah, they came back and bit me, which that's just a mistake.
Wow, you actually get cancelled a bit. Okay. Not ideal, but it's okay.
Yeah.
Wait, do you build Blood Razor first and not Runic Echoes?
No, I grabbed the attack speed to make her clear a little bit more smoothly.
Oh, okay.
Because her Q, you know, the cooldown resets based on hit, and so it just increases my damage a little bit more than getting a amp tone would.
Interesting. Okay.
Because I am going to build Nashers too.
Yeah. Okay, that's pretty cool. I didn't think of that, but I guess that makes sense. I mean, in terms of like getting Runic Echoes ASAP, obviously that's a really big item spike for you, and you are delaying it a little bit. So that's sort of the only thing I think about that. It's like, sure, you can clear camps faster, but is it worth not having that Runic Echoes earlier for when you gank? This is a question I'm posing to you. What do you think?
Yeah, I guess if again, my intent is never to fight in the early game, but yeah, I can see definitely where having the Runic Echoes over having that, if I was missing that 300 gold, then definitely Runic Echoes is a better choice in any fight, ideally.
Yeah, I mean, thinking about it more, I think that you shouldn't be buying Dagger. I think you need to get... Because, I mean, by the time you get Runic Echoes, that's not necessarily early game anymore. You're about 10 minutes, 11 minutes by the time you get that, right? And that's when you need to be doing something, because that's when you're level 6 Shyvana, right? So I think that this actually really does slow down your build. And, like, I mean, if it works for you, it works for you, but I think that this actually will hurt you more than you might think.
Okay. I'll try doing a couple of games without it.
Because the fact that you also need to actually physically build boots because you haven't got magical footwear, like, there's a lot of gold here that you're missing, you know, to, like, cleanly finish up items. But, I mean, I do like your thought process in terms of, like, you're going to clear fast with a dagger versus some magic AP. But again, I'm thinking more about actually impacting the game once you get your level 6.
Yeah.
Alright, so you come, take, oh, great. Amumu shows bot. See you later, topside jungle. This is really going to hurt him. Love the patience. Yeah, this is where Shyvana's super annoying. You do see Amumu walk up here.
Okay, so... Never mind, I'm not going to say anything.
Okay, so potentially... So sometimes you always need to think like, alright, I'm doing this gank, and it's taken a little too long. So you think about it, as soon as you show in an area of a map and you're looking to gank, everyone on the map's suddenly seen that, and everyone's going to make a decision whether they're going to run there or not, right? So, I mean, like, this was pretty close. But, like...
Yeah, I really wanted Kennen the first time I went in, so right here. I wanted him to go in, but he didn't. And then when the Pantheon shows up, I'm in panic mode. And so I'm like, Kennen, you know, come in with his ult. I think that if he ults here, Pantheon just dies.
Yeah. So
because Pantheon killed me with a long range spear, so I was already out of tower range. So Yeah, I think I relied on the Kennen just a little bit too much.
Oh, I mean, I think it's okay. I mean, I would be. I mean, what the Kennen really should have done. I mean, obviously, we shouldn't be focusing on what we can't control, but Kennen literally walk up here, just like auto attack him W, and then just like Pantheon comes in, ults, he E's, he flushes away. You guys juggle Tara aggro, and then yeah, Pantheon's dead, and you guys both survive. So yeah, I mean, I like that you have trust in your teammates, Josh. This is good, but yeah, I mean, I think this is just unfortunate, honestly. I mean, this should have gone cleanly. So I do think this play is fine.
All right, that was actually one of my big ones. Is what you've thought about this play.
Yeah, I mean, ideally, I actually wanted you to take. That would have been great if you took Krugs as well, but I mean, obviously, you couldn't at that time. I mean, I always think of dying as AP Shyvana as like the worst thing possible. Like, you probably think like how much it ruins your momentum as well, because I mean, thinking about it right now, you've just spent 20 seconds dead versus all your jungles up. That's like precious time you could be farming, right? Which is what you love to be doing as Shyvana.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, whenever you die as Shyvana, it's like not ideal. Oh, so you do have Dragon Form up again. Panther's low. But you die again. Alright, so what information do we miss here? So Bot's missing. You don't know where Mumu is. Yeah, I mean, this is tricky. I mean, it looks like a pretty free kill. The thing you do need to be wary with Pantheon is, remember, he's got that shield, so he can tank damage. He can he has like a Trundle ult in a way. That's how I sort of view it. You need to be careful of that. I mean, I guess you didn't know where bot lane was, but I mean, I can't say it's a calculated risk, but the worst thing about this is, again, you've died and your entire jungle's up, right? So you're giving yourself option to lose it. And again, you've lost another 20 seconds of momentum as Shyvana, where you can't be losing that momentum because you need to be constantly farming, right? So, yeah, I mean, this is just going back down to potentially you should be making the plays that are like, as Shyvana, you're very careful, selective of what you're taking fights on, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And not dying, because every death is like minutes like taken off the game, potential, you know, losing the game. Like, have you actually looked at my Haru Shyvana review I did a while back?
I have not. My friend just recently introduced me to this channel, so I haven't had a good chance to look at your other ones.
I'll link it to you after I wrap up the show here. But that game was like unwinnable. So, but he didn't die once, and he picked his fights very carefully. And that's sort of why I want you to sort of have more of a mindset with your AP Shyvana. And he goes like 20-0 and have like hard carries. You know, and this is Korean challenge where people will punish you for being a Shyvana. So take a look at that, and I think it might be pretty helpful for you as well.
Okay.
All right, Josh, well, this is going to be it for the early game. Anything else you wanted me to take a look at? Or have any questions?
No, that was pretty much it. I just the Kennen and the Leona things were the really big things. I was wondering if I was trying to look at the map, see if there's a way that I could have detected that Leona would have come. Then I wouldn't take that gank, but because I was ready for the 2v1, but I wasn't.
You mean for the Mumu here, yeah. But you weren't expecting Leona, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting Leona. I knew the Amumu was close, but I didn't know the Leona was, and she's the one that CC locks me.
Yeah, Leona's definitely the one that killed you there. Yeah, I mean, again, just assessing where's bot lane, you know, and supports love to roam. Remember, like especially out of base, when I off-roll support, I'm like literally going mid every time, even though if there's nothing there. Because if I'm just there for something like this happens, that's great, you know. Especially when I don't need to do anything bot, there's no priority anymore, right?
Yeah.
All right, Josh. Well, thanks for coming on the show. Welcome, obviously, to the server and my community, and potentially see you next time.
All right, man. Appreciate it.
No worries. Catch you later. All right, great. We're going to move on to our last one pretty quickly now, which is going to be Suji time. Let me just change scenes here. Alright, so this is an Ivern game of his. He's currently Iron 3. Going to drag him in here now. Suji time, you are on the air. Can you hear me all good?
Hey, yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Excellent. What should I call you instead of Suji time? It sounds weird calling you Suji time. What's your real life name?
Kevin or Suki.
Kevin or Sugi?
Yeah,
I think
Kevin.
I'll stick with Kevin. All right, so obviously welcome to the server. You've obviously been playing League for about, what was it, 5 months or so now?
Yeah, about 5 months.
And Ivern, I mean, Ivan's obviously a pretty interesting champ. Like, are you really liking Ivern in the jungle at the moment? Like, is he your main champion right now, or?
No, so I have the account I typically play on. I played support basically since I started. I'm on a team, and we do like side leagues and stuff, and I'm the support for that team. But I'm transitioning to jungle, so I have another account where I just Warwick one trick. But I was playing Clash last night, and I accidentally locked in Ivern for our jungle, and I just loved him. Actually, it was my first time playing him, and he was amazing.
So you coincidentally locked in Ivern. You're like, this is fun.
Yeah, I hovered in as a joke, and then I'm like, this is great because he's like a support in the jungle, so it's just like perfect for me.
Yeah, well, like, Ivan's a champion. If you enjoy it, like, go for it. Like, Ivern actually is a lot. I actually personally enjoy Ivern a lot as well. Like, he's just so fun, like, the way you play him. But unfortunately, in high elos, he's not, like, ideal. Because you can punish him very easily. But I think he's actually... I mean, people always say, like, you shouldn't play Ivern in lower elos because you don't have the damage to carry, and you should be carrying in lower elos. But I think that the way Ivern carries is more... you bait people on low health and they don't account for your shield because people aren't used to playing against Ivern, and that's the thing about Ivern is people don't expect the shield, and like they don't realize like what Ivern can do because no one actually ever plays against it. So I think the fact that people don't understand Ivern, especially in lower elos, can actually work to your advantage.
Yeah, actually, that's how I get away with a lot of things I do in this replay. Is I just bank on the fact that they have no idea what I can do.
That's right.
I mean, it works out like 3 or 4 times.
I remember the first time that I was versing Ivern, I'm like, this champion is just broken. Like, he can never die, you know? Like, but I mean, but then you start figuring out his weaknesses and you can really punish him. But let's take a look at this game here. So you are going, let's take a look at your runes. Airy, Nullifying Orb. So why do you go Nullifying Orb here out of curiosity versus Mana Flow Bland?
Yeah, so a lot of these runes are just runes that were recommended me from the people over at the Ivern's Discord.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I mean, that's honestly where I get most of this from.
So, I mean, if Ivern, like, I couldn't call myself an Ivern main, so potentially want to be maybe listening to them more than me, but looking at Nullifying Orb is more of an item a rune that you take when you're versing heavy AP champions. And this game, not necessarily at all. I mean, obviously you got Diana, Zack's sort of AP. I mean, I guess Trundle's sort of doing AP damage with Cinderhulk. But I think Mana Flow Ban, like, Ivern has mana issues. I mean, you might know from experience. Yeah. Mana Flow Ban's super important on him. Transcendence is good, Waterwalking's good, Futures Market, Cosmic Insight, CDR, AP, Magic Resist. I think your runes are really good here. The other option as well is to go Guardian, and people used to go that all the time on Ivern, but people have switched out to go in the Airy build now because you feel like you can actually do damage early game. It's more of like a carry-ish Ivern style. But if I feel like that I have no tanks on my team and I really want to like be really support mode, then I'll take Guardian. Again, I think it's 50-50. It's whatever your preference is. I'm just giving you options out there for you to potentially take.
Yeah, that makes sense. I basically play him like a roaming support this entire time. So I can see how that would work out.
Okay, so thinking about your early jungle path, do you have an idea of where you sort of want to land? Where are you looking to gank? Like what area of the map you're looking to pressure or you identify as a potential way you can win the game or win condition?
Yeah, so the win cons here are going to be Darius and Yasuo, I think. I think the Darius is just going to win. Like, I don't have to do anything. It's Zac top. So I think I'm totally fine there if I never go top. But the Yasuo, like, as long as I get the Yasuo ahead, I think Yasuo is, like, always the first thing on your mind when you think of win cons. So I definitely aim to pressure mid. With bot lane, they're just, like, super defensive. Like, Braum has a lot of peel, so I don't even know if I can do much down there.
Yeah, well, the way for Ivern, the way you only think about ganking is like, how strong is my laner? Because I'm not going to be the one really doing damage. I just enable them, right? So Yeah, I mean, obviously Braum's pretty tanky. I mean, I really do think Yas is really your win condition, your area. Just be protecting him with control wards in like sides of the map, making sure that Trundle's not getting ganks on him, and actually be looking to counter gank a lot is what I'll be looking to do. So, I mean, this is something obviously you might not be really familiar with in terms of tracking the enemy jungler since you're pretty new, but the way you really perfect Ivern is like knowing where the enemy jungler is at all times, because then you can counter gank, and his counter ganks are very strong. Because if someone commits all into someone, you walk in, you shield, and you start going full support mode, like it's very devastating. So, I think mid definitely, bot potentially, top. I mean, Darius is obviously also a potential one to, you know, Zach. I mean, he can destroy Zach, and you actually, I think, actually win 2v2 if you're here to protect Darius. So I think that, I mean, Ivan's always a champion again. It depends sort of how the game's going, who's winning, and how strong the tracking the enemy jungler. I mean, which part did I break up? Like the last minute or so, or?
Yeah, about the last minute or so. Well, maybe like 20 seconds.
Okay, what I was basically just asking is, saying is that tracking the enemy jungle is really important for Ivern. And I wanted to ask you, obviously you're pretty new to the game still. Do you think about it much during the game? Is it something you're improving on?
Yeah, so every time Trundle shows, I try to take a look at his CS, and I try to guess kind of where he's been. I'll try to click on him if I can fast enough and see what buffs he has to get an idea of where he's been at. Like if he has like blue, red buff, and then he has 12 CS, I'm gonna assume maybe he got the scuttle on whatever side he was on. That type of thing. Like I'm not great at it, but it's something that's on my mind.
Yeah, so that's good for the early game, but I'm actually not too fussed about the early game tracking. It's more about the entire game.
Oh yeah. So in the late game, because I was a support, I am super. I don't know. I don't want to say anything because it might not show in this game, but like I'm actually pretty decent with wards, and so I can put them in like the right spots to. Actually, I think one of these I miss a bush with a control ward, so it's just like sitting out in the open, and it's really unfortunate. But I'm decent with vision, so I try to keep vision in the spot so I can track where the jungle's at.
Okay, so we'll go into it, but you've actually completely messed up your Ivern path at the moment here. So, yes, it is correct to do Wolves, Blue, Gromp, then you come here and you do the red, smite it, then do Raptors, and then walk back down here.
Okay.
So this is like really not ideal, because now you haven't got your red at all. Like, you don't actually need your smite. So you've actually completely missed your red buff, and this is an inefficient jungle path.
Yeah, I do Wolves, Blue, Gromp, Raptors, then I go Collect, and then I Smite Red, and then I go Smite Scuttle.
Yeah, so you want to...
So it's a little out of order.
Yeah, it is out of order here. I mean, I guess this is actually still okay, actually thinking about it. Because you want to be back topside. Oh, this is actually, I think, potentially makes sense. I mean, you could actually maybe look for a dive on this Zach, potentially. Yeah, I mean, to be honest, Kevin, I think this is actually fine. Ignore what I said there. But the thing I don't like about that is because you can actually get invaded and killed on your red, maybe. And, like, maybe they're actually just taking it right now. But, yeah, I think that path works if you want to go back topside. But, again, that needs to be your attention, is you need to be going, like, all right, I'm going to do this path because I'm going to be going back topside.
Yeah, I don't actually think I go to the bottom lane at all for the first few minutes of the game, like 8 minutes or something, if I remember correctly.
Alright, so before basing here, I definitely would want to tap Krugs. Like, Krugs is a weird camp for Ivern because it's the best camp for most other junglers, but because you're not getting the full experience and gold from all the Krugs, I think that's the case. I'm not sure if I'm wrong in that.
Yeah, you don't.
You don't, right?
It's the weakest camp for Ivern.
For Ivern, but I still think it's still important to get here and there. Just like you were around anyway, just tag it, base, then go bot, and you can pick it up when you come back here pretty easily, you know? So it's sort of just like convenience for time, just tag it, you know, then go bot side. So you get mobility boots, this is really good. Come in here to help Yas. Yes, this is where Ivern, I think, is really good. He's running away from you. You can't shield him. Okay.
Yeah, he flashes away from the shield, which is super... I was, like, sitting clicking on him. I couldn't quite get close enough.
So this is a pretty small thing, and, I mean, it's probably not going to help you that much, but you see how you've walked here? Like you actually would have helped him, saved him if you walked here.
Yeah,
So I
you're
think
right. I went underneath because I thought he was pushing her back, and I wanted to get behind her.
so.
I didn't recognize that he was being pressured.
Yeah, so you need to. So the way I think that you have two mindsets. The way you've actually viewed this gang. So you're actually thinking to kill Diana here. This is the path to kill Diana. This is the path to save your Yasuo. Right?
Yeah,
So
you're right. Yeah,
So your thought
that makes a lot of
process,
sense.
your thought process here was to kill Diana. Your thought process here needed to be, I need to save my Yas. And most of the time in these type of ganks, like you should be in the mindset of save Yas. So does that make sense? Like I'm pretty sure that would have been your thought process here.
Yeah, it's a little weird because like most of the time with jungles, you're like if you don't get a summoner spell or a kill, like it was a wasted gank. But in this case, that's not really the case with Ivern.
No, with Ivern,
little-
it's Ivern. It's more saving your teammates and making sure they're committing to your teammates, and you're protecting them forever, and then turning ganks. Like you don't
Yeah.
really view Ivern as like going and kill. It's more protect, and we kill through protecting.
Mm-hmm.
That's sort of the mindset. But you do kill.
Much like a support.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you're literally a support. So you do get the kill there, but again, you just died. Ideally, he didn't. Tagging camps. Alright, so there's not much you can do bot here. I'll just be tagging. I would tag Raptors here. Come here, smite the Krugs, then base and go bot side for Dragon.
Mm.
So yeah, so you're skipping your Krugs a little bit too much, Kevin. I think you do need to get those. Even though that it's not a priority, like just get them here and there. And you have missed some opportunities to get them, even without sort of prioritizing them. You just could have done it. It would have been efficient jungle pathing, right? Because
Yeah, you're right.
what I also really like to do as well, I like to, after my Moby Boots, is buy Dark Seal as quickly as possible. Because Dark Seal is a great item to start stacking and snowball as Ivern, right? So if you did that path doing Raptors, kill Krugs, smite at base, you could have bought a Dark Seal, which is great. You can start stacking it, and then you can go bot side and start pressuring it. So does that make sense, Kevin?
Yeah, that makes sense. I did look at the there's a Dark Seal build on the Ivern Discord that I get most of this from, but I never really considered it. I guess for like the main build, it's always been kind of like joked as like a meme like full AP build,
Yeah.
but maybe that's not true.
No, I mean, I really don't. I disagree with that, honestly, because I think that Dark Seal is just such a cost-efficient way to snowball. And if you're already doing well, you're 1-0 right now. You've had a pretty good early game. Just get it, and like, sure, if you don't start dying, and then you just sell it. You know, you don't build it into, what's it called? Is it Magi's? Yeah. So yeah, I think that it's a situational item. I think if you feel like the game's going well, here, then build Dark Seal after Moby Boots. But if not, you know, I think it's fine. But yeah, maybe think about that next time when you're looking to, you know, when you're building your early game items.
No, that's fair. It took me a minute to get bot lane to actually come over to do the drag.
Yeah, it's sometimes going to happen. I mean, you do need to be very careful about dragons with Ivern without level 6, because you are very slow at doing your dragon without bot. So you need them to come. If they don't come, you need to just not doing it, right? Because you just can't solo it, right?
Yeah, I started like backing off, and then Leona came over, and I went back, and then it was kind of a mess.
So do you switch out to Red Sweeper Trinket, like at a certain time? Or...
No, I don't switch out to Red Sweeper at all during this. I like the ward trinket because it lets me get like wards in the jungle, so I can start tracking the jungler. Because like I'm not good at just like kind of figuring out where they're at. Like I actually like kind of need to see them once every few minutes to figure out like where they are. So yeah, I kind of use it as a crutch, I guess.
Yeah, so as a jungler, I do understand where you're coming from, and lower elo players do tell me, like, well, Nathan, like, I really like the ward just to protect my laners, but you sort of need to view more so protecting, like, pressuring areas of the map, getting objectives, and helping laners more in the fact of denying vision. Denying vision is actually more important than gaining vision in League of Legends, in general. Obviously, in the best case scenario, let's say if the map was not dark and you knew where everyone was at all times, then technically vision's better than denying vision, right? But that's obviously not the case. It's very unrealistic for League. You can't, even if you had unlimited wards, you couldn't probably physically place them everywhere during a game, right?
Mhm.
So you need to view more as your responsibility as a jungler as like denying vision. That helps you gain pressure.
No, that makes sense.
Like your support should be the one warding. Like your job as a jungler is to be like, I mean, it's fine for you to have yellow trinket now. I'd probably be looking to switch out to it on like my third base, maybe like latest. But yeah, I mean, it's actually not something I want you to focus on too much. And I sort of just mention it just to put it in your mind, you know, as you sort of get better and you climb. But really important. But I don't think that's going to be the difference between you winning and losing games in Iron at the
Yeah,
moment.
I think in this game I have a better vision. No, I don't have a better vision score than the support. Kind of up there, but not quite as good. Our support wasn't warding like a ton.
Okay, so I wouldn't be going bot here. So your pathing's a little bit messed up here. What you're doing, you're staggering your camps here and there. Like, I do really want you to get red. Like, your Krugs is going to be tagged soon. Ideally, you have, you come here, get your red Krugs. Then maybe look to do something top. I mean, I guess both work. I mean, this game, you're in a game situation where you have like a lot of winning lanes. So you actually can really do whatever you want. You know, but you are starting to fall behind in experience and gold. I think part of this is because you haven't done Krugs yet. So, I mean, you should be level 6 by now. You're going to get it. But given the fact that you've had a really good early game, you should be level 6 at 8 minutes, 30 seconds. I mean, you're actually still not level 6. So yeah, maybe part of it, Kevin, is just try and get your Krugs a little bit more. But
Yeah, I
don't
think
make them a priority.
Yeah, I think it's like a balance between like it's like you said, it's not a priority, but I actually do need to do them at some point.
Alright, so we're coming mid here for a gank. Alright, so with Ivern as well, you always want to start ganks off with your R as well. So get your R out first, then come in here, you know? Because like doing it during the mid fight, like you're missing a lot of opportunities for your what's it called? What's the Daisy? For Daisy to be starting to hit people. Like you could have had Daisy much earlier and started hitting this Trundle if you started the gank off with your R.
Yeah, because if I R and then I Q, Daisy will jump to him from the Q.
That too.
I forgot about that.
And like so,
I was trying to get close before I popped it, but I should have done that.
So no, what you actually want to do with Ivern is sometimes you pop Daisy on the way. So like walk in here, you're like team fight, like a skirmish or something's going to break out. You just throw Daisy and then you come in with Daisy. You always want to engage like fights with Daisy, not like mid fight use Daisy, because there's like obviously the summoning time, you know, delay, right? And you want to be using that instead to be like shielding your teammates and then getting more auto attacks off on Daisy. So always just start off, if you know you're going to go be fighting, Daisy beforehand.
Okay.
And it's a cooldown you want to throw out. Like it's like Daisy's not on the longest cooldown. You can just throw it out here and there. I love just throwing out Daisy. Like it's up for like, you know, a pretty decent amount of time, 60 seconds, right? So Daisy can be with you for like almost little less than half of the duration, right? So sometimes like just don't like hold your Daisy too much. Don't think of ults for Ivern as like traditional jungler ults. Like it's not something you need to save. Sometimes I just throw it all the time. Even if I'm not looking to fight, sometimes if I just want to pressure the tower, I'll just throw a Daisy, get some plates, it's going to die. But what I've done is I've actually forced the enemy team off it and they've denied some CS.
Yeah, that makes sense. Makes sense. This top lane gank is the one I was talking about where I was kind of banking on them not knowing what Ivern does.
Yeah.
He kind of run away from me.
Well, Zach's really far behind right now, so... Alright, well, I mean, this is pretty much your early game. I mean, there wasn't too much to cover here. You are playing Ivern and your team was winning, so... I mean, your 6k got up at 11 minutes, so you had like 3 winning lanes. I would be probably more interested in going over a game that you potentially lost and see where you could have recovered, but... I mean, yeah, I mean, overall, Ivern is... I have some videos. I don't know if you've seen some of my videos of my own gameplay of Ivern on my channel, but take a look at those if you haven't.
I was looking around for him, and I don't think I could find him, but I'll take another look for him. But yeah, it was the pathing stuff that I was like really interested in. And you kind of touched on a couple pieces, like where I wasn't quite sure where to go, and you gave me some advice on, you know, where I should be looking and why. So I appreciate that.
Great. Well, yeah, hopefully it sounds like it was helpful for you, Kevin. But if you want to jump on future shows, definitely jump on. And I'm pretty keen to see your progress over the next couple of months with your jungling. So thanks for coming on,
Cool.
and
Thanks a lot.
I'll see you next time.
See ya.
All right. So that's going to be it for the show tonight. Just taking a look at chat. B the MG. So you go Wolf, Grump, then Raptors. After that, you take all the mark camps. You smart red because you will waste time at red. The reason why he waited at Raptors is because he used his Q. You mostly take Krugs when there's nothing to do. Yeah, definitely agree with that there, B the MG. So Ivern is really strong. So you said wrong, no, you don't know. I'm not sure what you're talking. Okay, so you're talking about in terms of the jungle path. So you think, yeah, so I mean, looking back, I think that actually made sense. And I never thought of Ivern that way. Doing Wolves, Blue, Gromp, then Raptors, then clearing, and then coming to do red. But again, my only thing there was you could be losing your red buff, which is a little bit, what you don't want to be doing. So again, this is going to be the end of this show. We've wrapped up episode 10 now. Next, I do this twice a week. My next show is going to be on Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you want to come on the show next time, jump in my Discord. Let me know you want to come on the show. Tell me the game you want me to look at, and we can go over it in the next show. So thanks for watching, everyone. I'll see you guys in my next video or live stream.